This elephant spent 30 years neglected by a zoo until activists stepped up and set him free. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and don't forget to ring the bell for more. Elephants are amazing creatures with huge brains and big hearts. Long-term studies have shown that the animals are self-aware, compassionate, and even grieve for their dead. Despite all this, some elephants in captivity are still treated with incredible cruelty, as exemplified by the conditions that a poor pachyderm called Cavan was forced to endure. In 1985, when he was just a year old, this Asian elephant was ripped away from his homeland in Sri Lanka. Instead of roaming free with his herd then, Cavan spent his whole life confined to a small enclosure in Islamabad's Mirgazar Zoo in Pakistan. Around the elephant display, a chain-link fence marked the insufficient boundaries of Cavan's world. And even before his bones were allowed to grow properly, the sweet little elephant was thrown into servitude. Cavan's handlers forced him to carry children on his back and march them around his pen all day long, while the crowds cheered, unaware that they were part of his shameful cycle of torment. Cavan lived alone in his pitiful prison until 1992, when the Mirgazar Zoo, now officially the Islamabad Zoo, was given a female elephant from the Bangladeshi government. She was called Saheli and became Cavan's close companion for 20 years, until her premature death in 2012 at an age woefully young for an elephant. Normally, elephants in the wild can live for up to 70 years, but Saheli died at 22 years of age from an infection in the leg. Activists blame the zoo's administration, the Capital Development Authority (CDA), for neglecting Saheli's needs and were appalled by their lackluster response to improve living conditions at Islamabad Zoo. And Saheli's death hit her companion Cavan hard, and his behavior changed. In particular, he started to bob his head repetitively from side to side, a behavior tic called weaving, which is only seen in depressed elephants in captivity. Instead of treating his grief, however, the zoo staff made the situation even worse. Against expert advice to provide Cavan with another mate and better living conditions, his handlers chained the grieving elephant's legs. They claimed that this was to prevent uncontrollable behavior and to limit his potential to harm staff and visitors. Animal rights activists, meanwhile, campaigned to get Cavan's chains removed, and the huge public outcry moved Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif to speak up for the elephant. At first, the publicity forced the Islamabad Zoo to remove the chains, but within 3 months, poor Cavan was shackled again. And according to statements from previous employees, the elephant wasn't the only animal the zoo couldn't keep properly. The CDA management has no sense of running a zoo. Animal experts are astonished when they learn that a civil engineer is working as a zoo director. A former worker there told Pakistani newspaper Dawn in January 2016. Protests were once again made to free Cavan, but this time they seem to be falling on deaf ears. That is, until Samar Khan's intervention in 2015. Khan, an American national originally from Pakistan, was visiting family when she heard of Cavan's situation and paid him a visit at the zoo. After witnessing the suffering elephant's living conditions, Khan was disgusted by how Cavan was being treated. She felt she had to do something and, as a result, set up an online petition to get his shackles removed. His legs were chained up to the limit where he could move in his enclosure, she wrote in the petition's description. But the chains didn't seem to matter, because for the entire time I was there, Cavan didn't move. The only thing that moved was his head as it bobbed repetitively from right and left, she wrote. To her surprise, the petition was a huge success at drawing attention to Cavan's plight. As of August 2016, in fact, the petition had over 405,000 signatures from around the world. It even drew the support of animal lover and celebrity singer Cher, who spoke up in defense of Cavan. Khan's Facebook page, Free Cavan the Elephant, was also effective with its online target audience. I had no idea the petition would go viral, but I wanted to use the huge number of Cavan's fans for a force for good, Khan told website The Dodo in July of 2016. We were able to recruit a team of volunteers who help out on the ground in Islamabad. We also have so many amazing foreign supporters who have come out and internationally protested to help Cavan, she added. Finally, in September 2015, Cavan's chains were once again removed from his ankles, giving him free roam of his yet still unsatisfactory enclosure. To be sure, though, the Free Cavan team, as it had come to be known, saw this as a successful first step in what might be an otherwise long road toward reaching their goal. For example, the zoo would often reshackle Cavan, but each time volunteers were keeping close watch, would publicize Cavan's treatment and get him unshackled again. Ultimately, the zoo had to capitulate because the team's observations confirmed that Cavan was in no way violent. Indeed, he'd often wander up to greet his new support team in a friendly way. He recognizes them and always ambles over to say hi when he sees them, Khan said to the dodo. Meanwhile, in July of 2016, Faryal Gauhar, head of communications for the Free Cavan team, took the elephant's case to the Pakistani Senate with the assistance of the Help Welfare Organization. Armed with logical arguments from animal experts and tons of research, Gauhar presented the team's case to move Cavan out of his enclosure and into a sanctuary. When the Senate's verdict came in, then, the team couldn't believe their ears. Cavan was going to be moved to a sanctuary. The chairman of the Pakistani Senate has decreed that Cavan must be transferred to a sanctuary. I can't believe it, Khan told the dodo after the decision had been made. I wrote Cavan's petition nearly a year ago with the hopes of just getting Cavan's story out there. I didn't know what to expect. I'm so grateful to our Free Cavan team for working so hard. Together, we were able to accomplish what many told us was impossible, she added. There's one final vote left in the Senate on specifically which sanctuary to move Cavan to. The team is urging officials to support his relocation to the Four Paws International Charities Large Sanctuary, being built on a Myanmar National Reserve. But wherever he goes, if anyone deserves a life of freedom, it's Cavan. And we hope that after his 3 decades of suffering, his story of tragedy is finally coming to an end.